but the question is worth asking, and that says so much. What's up, YouTube?
Hello, squishies.
Hi everybody. If you are clicking on this, you're probably wondering, whoa, is Undead Unluck better than One Piece? And we can't quite answer that yet, because we're not done Undead Unluck, and neither of them are finished as a series.
Listen to me.
Yeah.
That's clickbait then. We have to chum, so we have to try.
No. I think we are going to say, what do we think is better in Undead Unluck than One Piece? What is it? Because I think there are some things that it does better.
Well, I'll tell you right now. We're getting more questions answered than asked immediately, and that's wild. And yes. You know the way that you told me we were getting more questions answered in One Piece now than we were before? We are, but we're not doing them in the straight out fashion you would like.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I think is really great about Undead Unluck is you're like, I think this might happen, and then they answer that thing, and then they're like, oh, but there's more, baby.
You don't lose depth. You keep deepening the mystery while constantly giving answers. Like, it feels like the world is constantly answering itself while bringing up enough questions that you're not losing any depth of mystery. I also think, like, the power system in the series is built to explore the deep themes and philosophical thinking. If you really like the thematic writing of Egghead Island, where we get very philosophical, you will love Undead Unluck. It's so good at exploring deep, rich, interesting philosophical themes.
And that's not even to say that it doesn't have great battle work and other pieces. It's just that it never shies away from asking the big questions in an interesting way.
Absolutely.
It makes you ask and evaluate, like, how you feel about life and death, while at the same time being this, like, raucous freaking roller coaster ride.
Mm-hmm. There's something really deeply charming about that. There's also, the fights are great, but it's a lot like One Piece, where the fights aren't the best part that you're here for. But I think I still enjoy the fights more. It's just, it's so hard to explain this, but the fights aren't usually that hype. They are just rich, deeply satisfying. They are emotional experiences, right?
Yeah, also, I think that One Piece took 100 chapters for me to be like, yeah, okay, I'm seeing this. This one took 32.
Yes. By chapter 32, it was interesting and unique enough that I don't think One Piece took 100 for me. For me, it was around the 64 mark. Arlong Park starts to kick off. You get the Nami backstory.
I liked Arlong Park a lot, but it was when I got to chapter 100 and I was like, holy shit, I did not understand the depth of this world, that I was like a different level of hooked. My holy shit, I did not understand the depth of this world came at chapter 32.
Yeah, it was a much earlier, oh, this is what this is capable of. There's the reason it might feel hard to describe, and like we're being a bit vague, is there's nothing like this. I've never read something like this before, and that is in so many ways. Like, in so many ways have I not read something like this. It understands the themes, and this is going to sound less hype than it should, but it understands the meaning of, thematically, love, kindness, and hatred better and more in a more interesting way than anything I've read. If you think that the way manga like Hunter x Hunter or Full Metal Alchemist plumb the depths of humanity with their thematics and symbolism is beautiful, you will love this series. It's incredible how it touches on these aspects.
And I just need to point out that while it's doing that, it's somehow, while body parts are being cut off, while somebody is using blood and hardening it and shooting it out as a jetpack and separating the mind, body, spirit, and all this other shit, it still manages to find itself being like among a fun, I want to say the word lighthearted, which I can't believe I want to use, but semi lighthearted romp. And I'm so interested in that balance of how it's asking for those big themes of love versus hate and all these other big pieces, and all the time that you're reading it, it's still like just fun. It's still somehow fun.
Yeah.
And that's what's amazing about it, because I'm like, yeah, I want to tell everyone to read it because it's got this great thing and this great thing, and looks at the idea of life and death and what are rules and do we live, is anything really reality, and does anything matter besides fornication, food, and exercise? Like, what are the things that have any meaning? And then I'm like, God, that sounds so ridiculous and so difficult and so onerous on your brain. And I'm like, no, it's fun.
It is so much fun. It's an absolute blast. I love reading this. It's incredibly well done. And it is all those things. It is deep. It is philosophical. It asks these incredible questions, but it's a blast. It's hilarious. If you read the first little bit, it's not going to feel like what it really can deliver on. There's such a deftness in its writing as it goes. It becomes something so
But you need that first little bit, and not in the same way you normally need the first little bit. Not in the way where I'm like, you really need it because it's just setting the scene. No, they use all the shit from the beginning, and they make the beginning more deep later on. They're like, yeah, no. Trust me when I tell you, we're going to come back to this time and time again, and you're going to come to value the way it began. Uh-oh, it's a delete your art. You have no art left.
Don't worry. It's been destroyed.
And so that's why I was like, it's kind of incredible. And I had a couple of chapters even this time that I was like, those were okay. Those are a couple of mid chapters. And then I would start to think about them while laying down. And I'd be like, well, actually, that did this, this, and this. And it wouldn't have mattered anyways, because as soon as I moved forward, I was like, what? What the shit is happening?
I think, is this series better than One Piece is at this point unanswerable, but the fact that it's a question worth asking, that I think when both are done, I'm going to ask myself that, is immediately impressive. And frankly, it doesn't matter if at the end of the day I end up being like, no, One Piece is better. The fact that I want to consider that question when One Piece is my favorite story I've ever lived with, that's incredible to me. I love what we've read. This is so unique. You were going to, while reading this, feel feelings that you haven't felt from these sources before. Fights are going to make you feel ways that a fight shouldn't. Dramatic backstories are going to make you feel a way that you'd never expect. The way you're going to feel about this cast of characters isn't what you'd expect to feel. It's unexpected at every turn, and it hits so deeply while doing so. Oda is a master storyteller at what he does, but you often will hate bad guys or find them fun, but be like, oh, it's fun to hate him. He's enjoyable. Imagine coming to deeply love the villain of most arcs. That's something special and unique.
But imagine having to love the villain and then loving the villain.
Yes. It's fantastic.
Also, I might not have dethroned it up until the arc that we just finished. And when we just finished that arc, I was like, holy shit.
This is the first time that I started to ask the question, where I started to be like, will this be better than One Piece?
And I haven't read enough manga to know, like, somebody asked me a little while ago whether or not there was I think that I just got into it earlier because I'm a better manga reader now. And I don't think so, because even if it's not manga, I still read. I've always read comics, and I've always read a variety of different things. And usually I'm kind of, and I talked about this before, I'm a bitter pumpkin. Every time I read a new anything, I'm like, ugh, I don't want to read this. I want this to be my last book. I want those characters back. And it usually takes me a little while to get into anything. So I expect that. But this one, I got in so much quicker because they do things. Oh, I know the word I'm going to use. Unexpectedly. They do things in a way that when you get to them, you are like, oh, it's going to happen this way. And I love guessing and making predictions. And yet, even when I'm right, it's different than I could have predicted it.
Yes. Every turn. unpredictable. It's something that you don't expect to have happened. It's brilliant, brilliantly written. I cannot recommend this enough. I've read quite a few manga. I'm not like I read everything, but I've read like a good number of manga, and this to me is up there as one of the best. I have qualms, but I have qualms with everything I consume. And I think for its uniqueness alone, for its freshness, for the fact that the writer seems to have such a deep understanding of the themes they want to approach and approaches them so richly and so completely and in such a unique light. That's incredible. So if you've been on the fence about it, if you don't want to, haven't thought you want to join our book club, you're not sure you want to get into a new manga, if you like One Piece, do. And for no other reason than it deserves it because it's been shafted. From what I understand, Disney bought the dubbing rights and has done almost nothing to advertise it, and it's kind of
such
flopped.
bullshit.
The dub has been unsuccessful in a way that it doesn't deserve. So help this incredible series survive. Help it thrive in the way that it deserves to, despite being ignored by a corporation that has done nothing to service it.
Absolutely 100% pissed at Disney. I'm pissed at them every once in a while for different things, but I am so pissed at Disney for letting this series down. It has done it a massive disservice. This is such excellent writing. It is one of the coolest plots. The world setup is ridiculous. I'm already going to use its world setup in some of my English classes to talk about world building. Like it is so well done, and Disney has just, you know what, Disney? This is right at you. At Disney, you've shit the bed here. You've really shit the bed. You have a prize on your hand. You have a diamond that's not even in the rough, and you have just let people down. And I really hope that people pick this up on their own, that they find a way to come to us, because it feels like this is not getting the love that it deserves. And when we said we were doing this, some people were like, oh, or your numbers are going to go down and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't care. That's not what this is about. We're doing what interests us. And then a whole bunch of people were like, oh, I'm out. I'm not interested. And I was like, okay, well, maybe it's not that good. And then we got into it and I was like, how is everyone not talking about this? If you're a One Piece fan, and I've read all the way through One Piece, if you're a One Piece fan and you're not liking this, it makes no sense. They both give you that same feeling. How could you not be into this?
So yeah, if any of what we've said sounds appealing, you're going to love this series. It's so incredible. I am so okay with a YouTube series having less views. That's not what I'm in this for. I'm in this to have fun. I've said that before.
You said you would run over anyone that got in the way of fun, I believe is what you said.
Yeah, something like that. I wouldn't be making a video to convince people to read Undead Unluck to get people in our book club. I want you to join. I want you to have fun. I want these streams to be busy, to be having a party every time. I am making a video like this because you'll love it, because this series deserves the love you will have for it. So I think that's all. Is it better than One Piece? We can't say yet, but the question is worth asking, and that says so much.
Yeah. That's a massive, for me, I was like, this is such a good thing. It's going to be really hard for me to read anything else. Everyone tells me that I started with Peak. So once you start with Peak, how are you going to go running off and enjoying other things? And when we got to chapter, I think it was at the end of the last chapter when we were in like the 80s, I was like, what? What the hell are we reading? This is wild. What? What the hell are we reading? This is wild. We are into it, I think, this time. If you want the God's honest truth, I think we just like did it in a different way.
So this arc starts with a stabbing.
Hey there, YouTube people. If you bit on the chumming that we did in the waters, and came on in for a minute, I really hope that you read Undead Unluck. You will not be disappointed. And if you are disappointed, you can have the fun thing of coming in and telling me how wrong I am. I'm not. I'm right. And how wrong Drock is. He's not. He's right. And then you can also give a big middle finger to Disney and allow an author who deserves to have the exposure that they have worked hard for who is also a massive fan of Oda and does tons of One Piece coding within this piece, but somehow manages to make something that is both poignant and fun. Come along for the ride. It is undeniably underrated.
Give it a chance. It takes a bit. This is like One Piece for me. I had to give it a bit of time, and when I did, I was not disappointed. I'm having my mind blown week after week. I'm gonna be honest. I was reading Kaiju number 8, and I have stopped reading it because I'm enjoying the series so much more than Kaiju number 8. This it rocks. This is so good. Please come and join. Please enjoy Undead Unluck, and please stick it to Disney. And
yeah, if it's canceled, I'm gonna be crushed. I'm like, this is one of those first times that I'm on the canceling side of something that I'm like, no! Oh my god, no!
Kaiju number 8's fine. Undead Unluck's better. And until next time,
squish on, squishies.
It's been lovely talking to you.